So today's video is how to change the deck belt, the blade belt on the Troybilt TV30R riding lawnmower. So step one will be to get the front of the mower off the ground. Now this video, I've seen other videos online where they remove the deck completely. That is absolutely not necessary, so I'm going to show you how to do that in this video. So step one is to prop the mower up, and then step two is to set the deck height in its lowest position so that you get enough space between the top of the deck and the bottom of the mower so you can get your hands in there and work. So with the mower off the ground, I just use a jack stand on the front of it, and then the deck set at the lowest setting, 1. There's 3 3/8 fasteners, one on the back side there, one here, and you can just undo those and then remove the dust shield, and that exposes the belt pulley and the blade spindle, and I'll get on to the next part. So you're going to have to remove, this is the engaged, disengaged PTO lever. So when you engage the blades, this is what pushes in and drives the belt in to make the blades spin. So this assembly has to be removed. So there's a nut here, and then up underneath there's the other end of that, which is a bolt. They're both 9/16. So I take 9/16 socket, go up underneath, and then a 9/16 wrench, and just undo that and get that out of the way. So I'm going to do that next. Okay, so with the nut and bolt removed, this bracket will now come out of the way, and in order to get it completely out, you'll have to remove the belt. So there's a pulley on the back, that's the drive, let me see if I can find it. So you can see right there, that's the drive pulley that comes off the crank shaft for the engine. So if you disconnect it from that one first, and then you get it off this one, then you can pull the old belt out. And it'll come out complete with this bracket assembly on yours, but it didn't on mine, and that's what I wanted to show you next. So this assembly will come out with the belt, and this is my original belt. Yeah, there's your problem, lady. So get rid of that, and out comes this bracket. And you can just take the spring off, do it one-handed, and here's the bracket assembly. And now let's talk about that real quick. So this is actually the third time I've attempted to make this video. The first time was, hey, this is super easy because you don't even have to take that bracket out. You just put the new belt on and you're good to go. And I ran the mower and the blade span just fine. Went out to start mowing the grass, and as soon as I adjusted the height, the belt flew off. And so I quickly realized that the reason that I didn't have to remove this pulley assembly in the first place was because, can anybody see why? We're missing a part. Set it on the ground. So right here in this telltale hole, there is supposed to be a bolt with a sleeve on it that acts as a keeper for the belt to stop the belt from flying off, and mine was missing. So not only did the belt shred, but that bolt and spacer disappeared as well. So I went on to Jack Small Engine's website, and by the way, that's how I figured out what was missing. Was I looked at the parts diagram and discovered that there was this missing sleeve and bolt. Well, the local hardware store didn't carry anything. The closest I could find was this, but if you look, A, this sleeve is too fat, this tube is too fat, and B, it wasn't quite long enough. And so my new belt did this. So yeah, it'll focus, belt number 2. So I had to go online and order the correct parts to put the correct factory spacer in here, and that's what I'm going to show you now. Okay, so while we're on the subject of parts, this is the factory part number, so that's 9540501 or 7540501, and there is, at least on mine, there's a under the seat there's a sticker with all of the common replacement factory parts, and I got this from I think I got this one on eBay actually, but the other parts I got from Jack's Small Engines. So this is the factory sleeve with a longer bolt, if it'll focus, and that longer bolt allowed me to put a lock nut on the top, right? And the problem with mine is this has a female thread cut into the metal bracket here, but obviously when the bolt wallowed out and let go, it chowdered up the thread in there, so it was completely useless. So on yours, if your bolt and spacer is still there, I recommend just going to the hardware store and buying a slightly longer bolt and adding a lock nut to it, and that'll stop your retaining spacer from flying off and disappearing into the yard. So to change the belt, you need to remove this so that facilitates getting the new belt on, because this is the retainer that stops the belt from flying off, if that makes sense. So put that back together again with the belt, and so the outside of the belt is going to run against the pulley, and the inside of the belt is running against the inside of the spacer. So this is a long way of telling you, just take this pulley off, remove the bolt, change out the belt, and then we're going to reattach this bracket to the mower and put the belt back into its proper place. So quick tip, it's a lot easier to attach the spring to the bracket before you bolt it in place. So I'm going to do that now. Okay, so the spring's attached, and by the way, under here, according to the parts diagram, this is a grease area. It's a wear area where the bracket pivots back and forth, so it's up to you. I put a little smidge of grease on mine, but that's your choice entirely. And of course, because I'm making this video, the neighbor's landscaping guy shows up and starts mowing, so we'll have some background noise to deal with. But when you go to put this in, there is this washer here. It's got a little step on it, and that rides inside of this bracket, so you want to make sure that you get that all on there nice and straight before you tighten it down. That means you can tighten this down all the way, and it still allows enough freedom for this to spin freely on the pivot point. So let me put that back together again. Okay, so that's back in place. And again, remember to put the spring on first, because it's a pain in the ass trying to get that on if you've already bolted it down. So the next step is to feed the belt through, and I'm going to run around the other side of the mower just to show you that real fast. Super easy. So if you can see it there, it's inside the square, and I don't have it on the pulley yet, but I'm just showing you. Get it on this back one first, and then get the front one on. Here's a view from the underside by the rear wheel. So there's the belt around the pulley going through that square, and then we've now just got to get it around the blade pulley, and that's it. Super easy. So that's it, it's all back on. And then just so you understand, this retaining pulley, engage pulley, it also pivots here, so that's what allows the belt to stay on when you adjust the height of the mowing deck. So I'm going to take it off the jack stand, crank it up and make sure that it's working before I put the dust shield back on. So I ran the mower and it threw the belt, so all I can see is that the distance between the retainer and the pulley was still wide enough, or too wide, and it allowed the belt to escape. So all I did was I bent that tab, that bracket, to bring that closer to the pulley. I don't know why that was necessary. I replaced it with the factory spacer, but nonetheless, I've just got to get this mower back up and running because I've got to mow the yard today. It is Memorial Day and we're going to go hang out with some friends. So last step is to get the cover back on, 3 3/8 bolts. And so once again, Pete Diamond here, Jacksonville, Florida. Troybilt TV30R, belt change, modification, no deck removal required. Thanks for watching and have a wonderful, blessed Memorial Day.